Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is an action role-playing game that is developed by Team Ninja. You know, the developer best known for Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, or that really bad Metroid game. Acting as a prequel to the original Final Fantasy, this game comes to fans as a celebration of the series for its 35th anniversary. Can you believe that? 35 years of Final Fantasy. I can already feel my knees popping at the sound of that. Can Team Ninja provide longtime Final Fantasy fans an RPG that they can be proud of? Or is this another spin-off in the list of bad spin-offs for the beloved franchise? The story of Stranger of Paradise follows the main protagonist Jack and his allies Ash and Jed as they focus on one goal, destroying Chaos. Chaos's darkness plagues the world, including the Kingdom of Cornelia, which is where the story begins for Jack. As the journey takes on, Jack and his allies meet new allies and uncover mysteries about their path. Did I mention that all characters have a level of amnesia and there is an air of mystery about them? Oh, I didn't? Well, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think the game really cares that you know this or not. These mysteries lead to Jack and his allies questioning their journey before the story actually picks up and really begins to become intriguing, which unfortunately does not happen until nearly the end of the game. One of the things that Jack and other characters lack is depth. Every character feels like a shell of what could have been a great character. There are amazing story moments in the last third of the game, and it all feels watered down in a sense because of the lack of interesting main characters. There are 5 characters that you can play as, the 3 mentioned previously and 2 others that you will encounter on your journey. Not a single one of those characters are given time to become standouts, something that Final Fantasy is well known for. Every Final Fantasy game has had standout characters that became fan favorites. This game lacks that, and it really hurts what I feel is a great final third act. So many moments would have been more impactful had the characters been given more time to connect and grow, not only with the gamer, but with the other characters involved in the story. And that is partially due to the design of the game. It is broken down into levels that seem like sort of a time jump in a lot of ways. The pacing of the story is terrible thanks to the way levels are designed, as they each feel like their own way to tell a half-written story about one of the characters. There are bits of text and lore that you can read, but they provide very little information that will help the story really draw you in. I don't want to spoil anything major, as this does tell an interesting story overall. I don't want to spoil anything major in the story, as I still feel this is a worthy play if you like the Final Fantasy franchise, but I also feel like there was never a moment where I was truly drawn into the story until about 3 missions from the end, and that is quite the opposite of what I find charming about the Final Fantasy franchise.
Freeze!
The gameplay of Stranger of Paradise is my favorite part of this game. I find myself having so much fun engaging in combat, as I found it challenging in its own way. This is a Team Ninja game after all. This is an action RPG, so expect mashing buttons to create combos and acting freely. This is not your typical turn-based style RPG that Final Fantasy has been well known for many years. The inclusion of classes allows for a lot of variation of play, as well as the diverse arsenal of weapons and abilities that are made available to the characters. Sure, you can approach the game just mashing the attack button, but you'll find yourself being outmatched if not paying attention. The difficulty might turn some away who are looking for an easier experience, but I found it quite fun, and if a class I was using was not working for a particular instance, I could completely change my style, my weapons, and my abilities, and it allowed me to think about my party more than just throwing on the best equipment and running with it. The combat also takes a unique approach on abilities and MP. If you combine the smart use of the Soul Shield with the abilities, you will find unique and fun combos that can really help enhance your gameplay. Each stage has a final boss, and this is where I find the challenge and the fun to reach the next level. Each boss is unique, and some are much more challenging than others. I can say personally that I struggled the most with Lich, who has some crazy toxic AoE effects that really made fighting him difficult. I had to give a few tries and try some different classes, but I never found it frustrating. In fact, I found it quite fun. The jokes and fun I had trying to use the monk class in a fight really created some fun memories in the game, and I can say with confidence the boss fights will be the best part of the game for most players. The only downside to the gameplay is that enemies feel repetitive at times, and you will find yourself avoiding enemies at times just to progress through a corridor. But the diverse class system, potential enemies, and combos more than make up for the repetitive enemies.
It's up to you, Sophia!
You're finally asking for
This game is beautiful. I think we can all agree that one thing the Final Fantasy franchise has done well is make beautiful worlds and character designs. The character designs look great for most characters. Even the main characters, when introduced, look great. Even with their one-dimensional personalities. There isn't much more I can say about this. You can see the footage for yourself. This game packs content in a few ways and still offers hours of fun. There's a lot of loot and a lot of upgrades. Well past the story's completion, you will find that there's a lot of loot to collect. Outside of the main missions, each area contains one or more side missions that can be completed for additional loot. This can be fun for some players and boring for others. Side missions are much shorter than story missions and are usually just short missions in areas already visited. Sometimes you refight powerful enemies or bosses, other times you just run around looking for particular treasures or loot. But once you complete the game, you can change things up a bit for a better reward. Side missions, post-story, have increased difficulty levels. Forget the max level in Final Fantasy being 99. This game sees you obtain gear in the 300s after some grinding and challenging runs of higher leveled side missions. But that is the bulk of content that does not pertain to the main story. If you completed all side missions while doing the main story, you will be left with a very small amount of new side missions as well as higher level versions of the missions you already completed. So if you find no joy in replaying missions to increase your character's levels or finding more loot, you might not find fun content outside of the main story. If you are an achievement hunter looking to 100% the achievements / trophies in this game, be ready to enjoy a lot of post-game grinding, which revolves around playing the same side mission dozens of times to max out all of your classes. This is one of those games where if you focus on getting 100%, it might become more tedious than fun.
Whoa. Never seen it react like this.
Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins is a weird entry into the Final Fantasy franchise that might appeal to fans of loot RPGs or fans of the early PS2 action games, but it lacks a charm that many Final Fantasy fans have come to know and love. The characters don't give much in terms of likability or memorable moments, making the climax of the game not as impactful as it could have been. If you love the original Final Fantasy, there will be some nice details, and the last third of the story will be quite fun to experience. But if you are looking for a nice entry into the Final Fantasy franchise, this might be a game that would be more suited to pick up while on sale or in the bargain bin.